What's up, everybody? It's Soren Baker here on Unique Access, and today we are joined by AMG. Thank you for coming through, sir.
What's up, man?
Good to see you as always.
Good to be here.
You obviously put out a lot of iconic music back in the day, and still work on a lot of music that I've heard that may not have been released yet.
Right.
But that being said, I wanted to take it back first and kind of go up to what's going on now. But when you look back at, obviously, Bitch Better Have My Money album and song are like your signature moments. When you look back at that record and that album and that single, like, what do you think about now when you hear that song and when you think about that album?
I probably think about the album more than the record, because the record got a whole life of its own that I could never attempt to try to beat again. You know what I mean?
All right.
Great concept. You know, as far as the album, I just was trying to do something that nobody kind of did, even though it was elements and stuff I did that was, you know, like my influences was Short and Luke and probably N.W.A. on that album, you know, as far as coming out being an artist. But, you know, we never knew that it would have the impact. We knew it was a good song. We knew we had great records, but we never knew that it was going to be something that lasted this long. Not at all. Not from how they used to count hip hop out back in the day anyway, you know. Yeah.
And with that, I also thought it was intriguing with the album cover that you didn't have your face on it.
Right.
So how do you remember how that came about? With
well,
the
everything everything that I did, you know, I did all the songs aside from New Exercise. That was Quik. He remixed it for me because I had another version of it. But you know, his album came out first, and I saw him. He put his face on it, you know, and I was looking at that like, I don't want to do that. I'm selling what I'm selling as far as the record and the jeans and the, you know, the girl reaching in the pants. You know, it was just the theme of how AMG was, you know.
And what, looking back, what was that theme, would you say?
You know, just a cold nigga, dick slanger, you know, money get it, bitch get it, you know what I mean? Like, you know.
Right.
Not really on the pimp shit, but yeah, I used to call myself the teenage pimp, but I wasn't in the streets like, you know, gang banging. I'm not from that element. So,
right.
As far as content, had player friends, pimp friends, and it turned into something that I could create as a character to do the records from, you know.
And I also thought that on the production side of things, even though some of the funk things like Vertical Joyride with Funky Worm and all those different things, there were elements of what had been done before, but I thought that the way that you guys had flipped it really had a different type of angle to it sonically. So for you, how did you find like putting the different wrinkles musically helped or differentiated you?
I knew the songs I wanted to use and the samples I use on the record. It was just shit that I liked. Okay. You know, and I never thought anything further than I'm using shit that I want to use, and you know, and you know, as far as sonically, it's like, we just wanted to bump. It wasn't really too much going on, far as, you know, this is my first record, first time really in a real studio recording and cutting shit. So, you know, we just kind of went for it. And you know, my whole thing was like, try to make everything sound about the same, like make all the songs kind of, you know, no matter what tempo or you know, texture we use on top of it or whatever, but. You know, we just kind of went for it, really. Okay. It wasn't too much brainstorming behind it.
And then with the getting with Select Records, like, how did that come about? Because they obviously had big success with Kin Play and Chubb Rock. And
yeah, they had their things, and I was their first West Coast artist, which was a blessing and a curse, because even though Bitch Better Have My Money, we made that record for $3 grand. Like, it wasn't no big budget behind it. $1,000 to the studio, $1,000 in my pocket. 1,000 to the executive producers, and which were the engineers and the mixers also. I knew I wanted a record, you know. We were all kind of coming out around the same time. Quik, Second and None, myself. Quik came out January '91. By March, he was gold, so we went on the road. I knew I needed a record out because we had recorded Quik Is the Name in 1990, summer 1990, basically. And after that was done, I was like, well, I got to get something. You know, I didn't want to wait. I didn't want to catch the wave late. You know what I mean? I wanted to be on the wave where it's kind of cresting. You know what I mean? So I got through the deal with Select for the single, not an album. I got to go on the road with a record. You know, Second to None, they went on tour with an album, but it wasn't out yet. They didn't come out to the fall. So at least I went out with a piece of product that I could present. And that helped doing those shows in all those markets. It helped the song grow because no video, no radio play. You know,
Right.
We needed something. So I came back off the tour and went in the studio and cut the album to get out in the fall. So that's how that came about, as far as you know, the whole process of getting that done.
Okay. And then back then, what do you think made your guys like click a crew together? You work in it, and then it works so well.
The synergy. We were all the same age, same type of songs. I've been working with Greedy Greg since like 1987. Through my man, he don't like his old rap name. DJ name, Cold Cash, June, and I think around early '89. You know, because Greg had a lot of artists he was dealing with. He's managing Tone Loc too, which is his cousin. And, you know, I heard the Quik stuff from Total Track Productions. They're producing a girl named Claudia. And he brought him over. Like, we heard the tape first. We was like, we got to get this dude because this shit's amazing, right? So I was working on my stuff. You know, we was basically all just tracking it, making demos and stuff like that. So we got him over there, and he brought second. And from there, we got High C over there working with us and doing stuff. You know, High C had his own thing with Steve Yano and Tony A. Rest in peace, Steve. And, you know, we just all gelled. Me, Quik, and Second, we just gelled. We sit up, make songs together, do hooks on each other's songs, and get on each other's records. And just kind of came together like that, like a brotherhood. You know what I mean?
Right.
You know, and we all were just struggling and trying to make it. But we knew we had something great enough to penetrate the market, and that was going to be good. And that happened to be Quik's record. Select and Profile were bidding on Quik, right? Profile wanted me, Select wanted Quik. Profile, Corey Robbins outbid Fred for DJ Quik's album. Okay. I didn't have a full album. He had a full album done. We only had to go in there and make about 2 or 3 fillers, you know what I mean, on the album. But he had most of the songs you hear on Quickest and they were done before the deal happened. You know, that happened, and that's when I knew I needed a record to go out with, because I was like, all this shit's about to blow. You know, we felt it. We just knew, like, this shit's about to be good. Like, we don't know what's going to happen, but we know whatever happens from this point is going to be amazing, and it was. First album came out in 91, fall 91. Toured for almost 2 years off that record.
Right.
So by 94, I'm going back in the studio to cut. But now rap is different.
Yes.
You know what I mean? A lot of things have changed. R&B is turning into more rap. It's a lot of beats and great songs and great artists coming out, Biggie and all this shit. You know, Tupac's big records. So I was going through the thing of like, okay, do I produce it again? But my production style had changed. I wasn't sampling a lot of you know, sampled up records or whatnot. And I was trying to do more musical shit to stop paying for samples.
Right.
Because that was the big issue back then. It's like, I don't want every sample I use to cost me 20 grand. You know,
makes sense.
That's 10 songs, that's 200 grand. I ain't got that kind of money to be paying people. So, you know, I went through my thing of trying to elevate my production and actually did a good job, but I took too long with what I was going for. And I kind of lost the passion by the time the process was done of recording the second album, which was Balling Out of Control. And by the time it came out in 95, which should have been 94, I think I could have caught a better break putting it out in 94. And by 95, it was just like, put out a single around the world, you know, shit about a few 100,000, you know. We don't know what we sold on that record because it was going through Sony. I have no idea. Hopefully it went gold, thank y'all. Who knows? I don't know the sound scans or nothing, but I dropped the ball in the sense of I was growing as a person, number one, growing as a artist and a producer I was trying to be. And I took too long to make the concept work because I was just a different dude. You know, I had too many people telling me what I should do, which I never had before. You know, your first album was just you in a room making beats. It ain't everybody going, you should do this, man. You know, it'd be real good if you do this. And, you know, you do want to respect people's opinions that you deal with, but you really should just listen to yourself and your art.